You're running a pizza counter. Some customers order single slices of cheese or pepperoni, while others order full custom pizzas. As slices get sold, inventory drops, and you need to make fresh pizzas to keep the counter stocked. But those pizzas share oven space with the custom orders. When should you start another pizza for slices? How many slices should you keep available? And how do you balance restocking the counter with getting custom pizzas out the door? There's a model for that. Welcome to Model Monday, a series where we break down scenarios in different industries, organizations, and departments and explain how you can build a simulation of them in Process Playground. Let's model it. This model will have 3 items. We'll go up to the Item Types menu to set them. First, we'll create a custom pizza item and give it a distinct color. Then, we'll create a pepperoni slice item. Then, we'll create a cheese slice item and we'll also change the color here. Perfect. To start our model, we're going to add a demand block and call this Custom Pizza Orders. We're going to set the time between arrivals of our custom pizza items to be normally distributed with a mean of 12 and a standard deviation of 2. This means we'll get a customer who orders a custom pizza about every 12 minutes, but sometimes less and sometimes more. Once we've created our demand, we're going to add a queue block to represent our waiting orders, and we'll call this Pizza Prep. When making a pizza, the first step is to assemble the pizza. We'll add an activity block for this. We'll name this block Assemble Pizza, and we'll use the servers available to say that we have 3 stations available to make pizzas. Then we'll set the time it takes to assemble a pizza. We're going to use setup time instead of processing time for our activity blocks in this model. The reason we're using setup time is because later in the model, the pepperoni slices and cheese slices will move through the same process as batches. If we use processing time, that time is applied to each slice in the batch. But if we use setup time, then it is applied once to the entire batch. For a single item, like the custom pizza, there is no difference between using setup time and processing time. So, for this assemble pizza block, we'll set the setup time as a constant of 2 minutes so that every pizza can be assembled in 2 minutes. We'll also set the processing time to 0. Moving on in our process, we'll add a queue to hold our pizzas waiting to be baked. Then we'll add an activity block to represent the oven. We'll call this activity Bake, and we'll say that our oven has 4 spaces that can cook pizzas. An activity block can treat all items the same, or we can add unique parameters for each item type. In this case, we'll turn off Allow All Items, and we'll add each item type individually to this block, so we can have different bake times depending on the type of pizza. Once again, we're going to use setup time instead of processing time. For our custom pizza, we're going to say it spends 14 minutes baking, and we'll have to zero out this processing time again. We'll set up our pepperoni slices to cook in 15 minutes and zero out that processing time, and then we'll set our cheese slices to 12 minutes and once again zero out that processing time. Great. Then, once a pizza is done, someone will take it out of the oven and slice and box it up. We'll add an activity block called Slice and Box. We'll use the defaults here and say it takes exactly 30 seconds at this step. Notice how we're still using our setup time here. Finally, we'll make an exit. This exit is going to be just for the custom pizzas, which is sold as is. We'll turn off Allow All Items and add the custom pizza item, which will set this as the route our custom pizzas will go. Now we'll build out the counter section that only sells slices of cheese and pepperoni. We'll put a queue block just as a separator, and then we'll add the pull block. We'll call this Ready Pepperoni Slices. Now we'll add the pepperoni slice item to this block. The pull block acts as an inventory that goes down as items are used, and once it reaches a set level, it creates an order to replenish it. So we start with saying the number of slices we have on hand at the start of the simulation. In this case, we have 8, or a whole pizza worth of slices. We'll set the system max to be 16, or 2 full pizzas. This means we should never have more than 16 slices in the system at once, whether they are waiting in inventory or being baked. The trigger item is pepperoni slice, and we want that batch of pepperoni slices to start at the pizza prep block. Great! When you close the block, you can see the label at the pizza prep block that this is where the pizza slices will start to restock. Let's define the demand for our pepperoni slice. To do this, we'll add a demand block, but this one flows from the pull block into demand. This allows the demand block to function in pull mode and take out from the pulled block. We'll call this demand for pepperoni slices. We'll remove the default item here and come to the bottom and add our pepperoni slice item. We'll set the demand distribution to have a time between arrivals that is normally distributed with a mean of 3 and a standard deviation of 2. Someone comes in about every 3 minutes to order a slice of pepperoni. We'll do the same thing for our cheese slices. Let's create another pull block, and we'll move around this connection here. We'll open the parameters and rename this Ready Cheese Slices. In the same way, we'll add the cheese slice item, set the parameters to 8, 16, and 8 to control when we start baking a new pizza. Then from there, we'll add a demand block called Demand for Cheese Slices. We'll remove the custom pizza item and add our cheese slice item and set the demand time distribution to be normal with a mean of 3 and a standard deviation of 2. The last step for building out this model will be to staff our kitchen process. We'll pull in a resource block to add shared resources to run our activity steps. We'll call this staff. We will say we have 3 staff members running the pizza baking process. We will assign them to the assemble pizza step and the slice and box step. We'll set the priorities on these to be 1 for slice and box and 2 for assemble pizza. It's useful to have the priority order be the reverse of process order so that you can focus on completing work in progress before adding new work. Let's run the model. We'll run it for 100 minutes. We can see how our oven is being utilized. The oven fills up quickly and eventually the pizza's finished cooking. We can see how our slices are purchased and move into the demand block, and that our custom pizzas are making it out to the exit. Let's dive deeper into the statistics. If we look at our custom pizzas, we can see the final count at the end, as well as the total lead time, or how long it took these pizzas to get here from initial creation at the demand block. For our pull blocks, we would be interested in how our inventory looked over the course of the simulation. So we can see sort of a sawtooth pattern in how our inventory was doing while we were waiting for new pizzas to be cooked. We can look at this for our cheese slices as well and see a similar pattern. In our activity block, we might be interested in the count and the block cycle time, which is how long our items spent in this block on average. Maybe we want a reminder of the number of servers. And we can take a look at the idle time and setup time as a percentage of the simulation. Note here that we also have blocked time. This means that there were times when a pizza was done in the oven, but a resource wasn't available to move it into the slice and box step, so the item had to wait in the activity block. Finally, we can look at staff utilization, which shows that our staff were only occupied about 14% of the time. Our graph shows that we rarely got up to 3 people that we had staffed, so this presents an opportunity for improvement. So in a nutshell, that's the pizza counter model, but the real value is in what you can experiment with. By modeling single slice demand, full custom pizza orders, and replenishment when slice inventory gets low, you can see how the counter balances availability, freshness, and limited oven capacity. And it's not just pizza. The same pattern shows up in pharmacies replenishing commonly dispensed medications while preparing custom prescriptions, warehouses restocking pick bins while fulfilling special orders, bakeries restocking pastries while filling custom cake orders, and restaurants prepping items ahead of demand while handling made-to-order meals. From here, you can start to ask real design questions. When should I start making another pizza for slices? How many slices should I keep ready? And what happens if one type of demand starts crowding out the other? Those are the kinds of trade-offs this model is built to explore.
That's the model. Now go experiment. Happy modeling!